and today's webinar, Maximizing Efficiency, the Benefits of Automated Content Conversion with Stilo Migration, presented with Jacob Brennan of Stilo. Welcome.
Thank you. I'll just share my screen now. Pop over to there. So that should be good. Thank you for the introduction, Trish. And we'll just hop right into it. Before we get started here, a little bit about myself. I've been with Stilo here for about a year now, working with Stilo Migrate customers, helping analyze their legacy content and configure some of the appropriate mapping rules to go with that. Also providing some customer training and support for our Migrate customers as well. And then before that, I am a recent graduate from the University of Ottawa, as shown there. And then most importantly, over there on the left is my contact details. So if you have any questions that you would like to reach out or just to chat or anything like that, please feel free to reach out at that email there on the left-hand side. So now we'll just jump into it. So first and foremost, what is Migrate? So Migrate is the world's first cloud content conversion service and has been used by organizations for over 10 years now. Migrate can be used to convert various source formats, such as FrameMaker, Word, RoboHelp, InDesign, HTML, and XML. And during these past years, we've helped our customers convert more than 1 million pages of content to DITA. So all of this content was converted using Migrate, either by customers converting content in their own personal portal or by us, Stilo, undertaking the conversion work for them. So I'll just go through a little quick rundown of how our process works and how we go through all of this before we actually launch into the demo portion here. So first step, you have to upload your document set, which can be as many files as you'd like. Once your documents are uploaded, we'll go through and we'll pre-configure your portal, building out a rule set which targets the custom XML or DITA standard that you've specified. Next, we'll go through and Migrate will analyze your document, in which it creates an intermediate XML format that is mapping your styles, processing your tables, handling your equations, as well as looking at your conditional text, patterns, and context matching. These characteristics identified through this analysis are then annotated and mapped to the target DITA. So once the user accepts these conversion charges, Migrate will then proceed with converting your document. This conversion is schema driven, so it'll always generate a valid DITA. And now if the output is not quite right, we can go back and changes can be made in the rules editor, and then the document can be put back through and reconverted. So Migrate does go through and it allows you the capability to guide your conversion to the required output as many times as you'd like to make sure that it gets to exactly as you need it. Now, when your conversion is completed, you can either download the content to your desktop for QAing, or it can be integrated directly into your CCMS. Or if it's an over the wall and you decide that you want Stilo to go through with that as well, we can we do the QA for you as well. So it'll be up to your standards. So in terms of producing DITA, we can get all sorts of granularity. We can produce DITA topics, specialized topics, and DITA maps. So what really sets us apart from the traditional outsourced or in-house conversion solutions are the high levels of automation that we can achieve. So why use Migrate as opposed to, again, your in-house solutions or some other way of going about it? So first and foremost, we've got time and cost efficiency. So Migrate's a specialized tool designed specifically for DITA migration. So it offers a streamlined and automated process that can significantly reduce the time and effort required for your conversion. By using Migrate, you can save on development and maintenance costs associated with building an in-house conversion solution. Migrate's also developed and maintained by our company here, Stilo. So we have expertise in DITA and content conversion, And by using our tool, you can leverage this experience and knowledge to ensure a smooth migration process. We can also provide you with technical support and assistance, which can be valuable during the migration process, as well as the post-migration phases as well. We have some, Migrate incorporates some best practices for data migration. So our tool follows these established guidelines and standards, ensuring that the resulting data content conforms to industry norms. Migrate can handle complex conversion scenarios, such as handling your legacy markup, reusing content, and managing metadata with predefined rules and configurations. Migrate also offers scalability for handling large content volumes and complex conversion requirements. It allows you to convert content from various formats. So like I said, HTML, Word, FrameMaker, just to name a few. So convert those formats to data, providing flexibility to accommodate diverse source content types. Our tool also supports incremental migration, allowing you to migrate content in stages rather than all at once in a big bang approach. If you plan to migrate content in iterative stages or want to convert new content as it is created, Migrate also offers features to support this approach. You can use the tool to convert new content incrementally or automate the conversion process as part of your content workflow. So authoring in the tool that you deem to be what you're best in, and then converting it afterwards. And then lastly, we have validation and quality assurance. So Migrate includes validation and quality assurance checks along the way to ensure the integrity and quality of the converted data content. So it'll help us to identify some of the issues, inconsistencies, or errors during the migration process, allowing you to address them proactively and maintain your content quality, as well as we can help you out with that quality assurance as well, like I said before. So I do have a little bit of a demo that I've set up here, so I'll move over to that. What I've gone through and done today is created a fake software user guide and labeled it as such. I actually used AI to create a generic outline of what a software user guide could look like. And we can go through and see how easy it is for Migrate to go through and target and map our rules, how we can set up our rules to make sure that this gets the correct data output. So first and foremost, we need to upload our collection. So this is the Documents tab. This is the first page that you see when you log into Migrate. So we're going to have to go to the Upload page over here in the top left and select our files. This will just open your Windows browser. You click on what you want, and then make sure that you have the correct importer as well, just to make sure. This is the demo portal. It does have a lot of our different importers there. So your FrameMaker, HTML, things like that. So once that's all good, we can just hit our upload button, and it'll take a couple minutes for it to upload there. Now what Migrate's doing is going through and it's analyzing all of the content that we've just uploaded to it and trying to create a report for us to show what specifically is in that document. And we can see that now that it's done, it's finished analyzing, we can see, and we can go into it and see some of the information that it's analyzed there by just clicking on the name of it. So it's shown us all of the info that it's analyzed down here in this table here. So we've got 12,686 characters, the word count, lines, paragraphs, so on and so forth. So what we're going to have to do to guide our conversion a little bit further, we're going to have to set a rule set. So I just have one here that I've named after the May 2023 webinar. I'm going to have to accept our credit count. And then I'm going to choose a Ditto 1.3 map topic based. This will be specific to your needs. This is just what I've chosen arbitrarily for today's demo. So that's all good to go. The only other things that are in this this bar here are the baskets and collections. Um, for reference, those are just ways of making sure that you keep all of your documentation together, and you're getting it all in the same place, so you don't lose track of anything. Keep everything nice and neat. So if we want to go in, we can go and look at these rules and see how we're actually guiding our conversion from the docx framework that I've created before to DITA. So to do that, we just hit the edit rules, and it'll take a couple minutes for it to pop open here. As we're waiting, Migrate right now is going through and it's converting our Word content into that intermediate XML format, as I explained before. And that's what we see here now that it's loaded. We can see that that's in the left-hand side here. And it looks very much like what our original Word document looks like. But it's not exactly Word, and it's not DITA yet either. It's somewhere in between in this intermediate XML format. If we look to the right-hand side here, we've got a bunch of tabs that'll show some information for us. So we've got our document properties, shows some info there, the annotations that are in this that have been applied from the rules, the styles that we've seen in this document and what Migrate has found for us. The element properties, which we can see by clicking on something. This one here specifically is a paragraph with a style of heading 1, with some extra info down there. And then finally, we have our rules. This does look like a lot of rules, but any of the ones that are in white are ones that are actually being applied, and any of the ones that are in brown are not. Those are just there. And not actually applying to anything. So let's go through and see some of these rules that we've applied. So first and foremost, we like to delete our empty paragraphs, anything that's that doesn't need to be there, any white space, and our list markers that would be automatically generated through our DITA output. So those are all being deleted properly. Then the first thing I do when I go into a rule set is making sure that all of our topics are found correctly. So our first level topic, our 1 point, 1 dot introduction kind of topic there. It was styled with a heading 1, and that was consistent through the whole document. So that's all this rule is saying here. It's a very basic rule to try and make sure that everything is together. This is all that's really needed, but this part here is what we use to kind of take away that numbering, because we don't need that in DITA, and we just want the title to come across. So that's what this part here is. For those of you who might not be very familiar with regex, it does look a little daunting, but I promise you it's not as complicated as it looks once you get into it. And the same thing applies for our topic 3. It's just a heading 3 with some more regex kind of matching to try and get the title down. The topic 2 is a little different, and it is longer, and again looks a little daunting. But once we get down into it, it is pretty simple once we get into it. This topic 2 I created because if we go down here to our 6.4, this one here, it isn't actually styled in the heading 2 that it should have been. So there's some inconsistent stylings along the way here. It should be styled as this heading 2, as the one in front of it says. But for some reason, this just wasn't picked up properly. So what I've done is this one is still just catching the title and deleting the numbering before it. This part here is to catch the styling, the correct styled ones that are in that heading 2, and then specifically to get the feature specific issues here. We have the no spacing style, and it has been, it's a bold font weight with a 14-point size. So that's how we picked that up. Inconsistent styling can be very annoying. Sometimes, especially if you're trying to do it in-house or some other way. And Migrate makes it easy with just 3 or 4 extra lines of rules to make sure that it also applies. So if we want to go back to our rules, we have some bullet lists in here as well. Again, these were styled correctly. They were in a list paragraph style, and they're just in a bulleted list style as well. The same can be said for our ordered list, which is down here. It's the same rule. It's more ordered list, and we can go to one. So like in here, again, it's styled as the list paragraph, and it's in a decimal style list. So that was picked up quite easily as well. That's 2 lines to make sure that we're picking all those up properly. There's a lot of notes in this one here, specifically something like this. And the only way that we could find that these were being denoted properly was because of the note heading to begin with, and then the actual information behind it. And we don't want the note heading. We just want the information, and then that to be annotated with our note heading there. So that's what we've done through this rule here. We've noticed that it started with a note, and then the double dots, or note that, or note and then the dash like that. And again, this does look pretty daunting if you're not familiar with regex, but all this is saying is that it starts with the note, and that we're deleting that note content as well. If, for example, we came across caution or warnings, which is quite common in this software domain, we could also go through and do the same thing. Just it starts with caution or warning, and then this p.note element would be in a caution or warning note instead. So it would be essentially just duplicating this rule, doing the same thing, and changing some slight things along the way. In this document as well, especially with our software, we have UI controls, and this one is the longest. It's for sure the longest and most intensive rule to try and get in, but that's only because of how varied it can be on what kind of stuff needs to go into a UI control. So specifically here, and this would be difficult to do in-house as well, to pick up properly yourself. And with Migrate, yes, it does look very long, but again, it is quite simple when you come down to it. So all I really did for this one is make sure that it was in a bold style font, and it's not in the Courier font. The Courier font was denoted for code in this rule set. So, and then as well as that, if it's bolded and it precedes, or it's after a click, or click the, or choose the, that's what all these mean, is that it's got those things before it. And that's just how this one was built out to begin with. And then once again, we've just got it annotated with our menu, our cascade control menu there, and it's splitting on the separator, these arrows here as well. We've got some steps in here. Again, that's kind of the same thing as the notes. So we've gone through, and these steps here are being annotated as steps properly. Just because they've been shown with a step and then a digit. We're deleting this whole thing here and just keeping the detailed instructions on how to perform this step area there as well. And then lastly, we have one table in this document. And normally those would be kind of a pain to try and get to come across properly. But thankfully with Migrate, you don't really have to worry too much about them, because they usually just get picked up. They just get picked up by Migrate fine, and moved over. The only reason this rule is here is that I'm denoting that the first two, the term and the definition there, those are table headers, and I wanted those to be the header of the table. And once again, with this rule, all I'm saying is that the style is normal, and the row position is 1, so the first in the row. So every first row position element is going to be annotated with that table head, and then the rest of it's just going to be picked up by Migrate and converted as the table anyways, which will come across quite nice, and we can see that in the data. So that's going through, that's all the rules that we have for this specific software mockup document. And what we can do is we can now convert it, download it, and QA it a little bit, and look at how those have come through. So if we just want to close the rules editor by clicking over here, and then we go back to our documents tab, we can just click on this button here. If you have multiple, you can click multiple at a time. But for this one, I just have the one. I'll just hit convert, and now it's starting with its conversion. As you can see, I've already got one here, kind of like a cooking show. We've got one already baked up and ready to go. That's already converted and ready to go with the same rule set. So let's just download that one real quick by hitting this download button up here, and it'll pop up down at the bottom, and we'll take a look at it. Just extract our files, and we can look at how this goes. First and foremost, I like to look at the data map to make sure that our topics were all picked up and our topic hierarchy was all picked up properly. So this all looks very good to me. We've got our first level topic and then some second levels here. Specifically down here, we've got a first level, a second level, and a third level. So those came out well. And then, as I said, with that inconsistent styling in, I think it was chapter 6.4, that wasn't being picked up properly. And that was feature specific issues. So as we can see down here, we've got that being picked up, and it's in its second level topic hierarchy there. So that did come across quite well, and looks very good for what it is. If we want to look, we can check for our bullets. Those would be in the system requirements. So if we're looking here, we see that our unordered list was picked up properly, and a note was added in there as well. The note was picked up in there too. We've got our ordered list, which would be in this one here. We've got an ordered list that shows up. So that's been all annotated properly. We've got our P tag to begin with, and then our ordered list has been picked up and closed properly. So that's very good to see. In this, we've also got some steps that we can see. This how to use option. So step one, step 2, and step 3. So those have all been picked up well and have been annotated properly and closed properly as well. So that's all nice to see. And then lastly, we've got our glossary with the table and note that I can pull up here as well. So again, that table is coming up. It looks very good in this author here. And we can go to the text as well and see that. The table head was picked up properly, filled in, annotated, and closed properly. And I didn't do anything else with the table other than showing that this was a table heading as opposed to your regular rows. So so that came across quite well, and I didn't really have to do very much to make sure that that table was being pulled from the legacy content into our data. So that Migrate makes that very easy. The same thing can be said for figures as well when we go through that. And then finally in this one, we've also got a another note that we've associated at the bottom. So that's been picked up as well. Just remember it was being denoted with that note that, or the note and then the double dots there. So we've gotten rid of the note heading, and then we've annotated as the note properly there as well. So that was a pretty I guess bare bones approach. There's not really much actual information in there, but it does follow the guide, the same guide that a software document or a software user guide would go through, and all of that has been picked up properly, showing how easy it is to go through with Migrate. So let's just switch back over to the slides. So ultimately, the decision between using our product Migrate or converting to data in-house depends on your specific requirements, resources, and expertise. If you have some limited resources, tight timelines, or some complex content conversion needs, Migrate can offer a much more efficient and reliable solution. If you have some specialized knowledge, available development resources, and unique conversion requirements, an in-house conversion might be a little bit more appealing to you. But again, you'd be losing out on that specific requirements and expertise that comes from Migrate. So now, if there's any questions, I'd feel free to ask. But that should be all for me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jacob. We do have a question. How to convert PDF to XML?
To convert PDF to XML, PDF is a little difficult to try and convert. Our Migrate does not actually take PDF in by itself. So we'd have to try and find some way of getting it from its original source format. Say if it was a Word document that was put into a PDF, then we could use that. But since PDF is locked down and it's very hard to extract that, we'd have to try and find a way around that. If you have specific requirements, I feel like that would be better suited for an email, for us to better understand where you're coming from on why you're trying to convert that PDF to XML, and how we can kind of compromise on that.
Okay, another question. What is the cost of this tool?
Cost, again, you'd have to email us, and that's more of a question for some other people in our company there for me. If you'd like to reach out with an email and ask about that, that would be better. But it is based off of those credits that you saw there. Yeah, and then that's how the basic pricing structure works, is on a credit based structure. So depending on how much content you have, you'd be paying based on how much content. But again, specifics, if you'd like to reach out, we can talk about specifics that way.
If you want to post your contact information, I think that would be great. Also, when I do send out the webinar link for the recording, that will also have Jacob's contact information, so you can reach out that way as well.
Okay.
Well, here we have, and I see they have posted their information, and just making sure, Jacob, that you can get that as well.
Okay. Okay. I will write down your contact info right now and make sure that we can talk about that.
Okay, that is wonderful. I know we'll be ending a little early, but are there any other questions at all for Jacob? Well, Jacob, any closing thoughts?
I just put my email down there again if anyone does have any more questions. And if you want to reach out through that, I'd be happy to assist you with however I can.
Okay, well, I guess with that, we'll go ahead and close. Well, thank you very much. Obviously, some people very interested.
Yeah.
And as I said, we will post a webinar link to this and all our past webinars on our CIDM website, as well as I will be sending out to those who've registered directly the webinar link. So with that, we'll close, and thank you so very much. Appreciate it, and hope to see you all for the next webinar.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.